Welcome to this legacy class. My name is Teresa. I am your legacy program director, and I am just super excited about this class today. We have two wonderful ladies joining us, Kate Wade and Chrissy Metzler from the Golden System. Welcome both of you to the class.
Thank you so much for having us. We're so thrilled to be here this morning.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You're welcome. And I just really want to thank everyone for joining us today. There's so much going on in this area that, you could have been anywhere else. So we thank you so much for taking the time to join us in this class. We're going to introduce our speakers, but before I do that, I just want to let everyone know that we want this to be an engaging class. So feel free to take your cell phone off mute and ask a question if you have it. If you don't want to talk, you can definitely add your question in the chat. And we will have someone looking at the chat so that we can, answer your questions for you. So just feel free to just, engage with us. This is what we want. We want you to ask questions. And just keep in mind that there's no bad questions. So anything that you can think of, definitely ask because we want everyone to be educated on how we can set goals and be productive. So right now, I'm going to have LaQuetta Mitchell, our educational administrator, go ahead and introduce our speakers. LaQuetta?
Hi, good morning, everyone. So the Golden System was launched in the fall of 2022 by Kate Wade, who holds a Master of Education in Education Psychology, and Christy Metzler, who holds a Master of Arts in Special Education. Throughout their years of coaching neurodivergent individuals, they have applied their backgrounds in behavioral change, education, and leadership to develop a proven system that supports executive function skill development, and implementation. As a company, they are dedicated to creating pathways for each individual to overcome barriers and seek success. They aim to empower their clients to achieve their goals by providing a supportive environment that nurtures their growth. With advanced degrees in education, they are aware of the cognitive challenges that individuals face when building new systems and habits. They utilize and adapt their system to fit each individual's personal goals and practices. As educators who specialize in supporting the neurodivergent community, they ensure that the experience is like no other. There is no one size fits all at the Golden System. And without further ado, I would like to turn it over to our speakers today, Ms. Kate and Christy.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us and asking us to be here. And as you heard, this is the name of our game, right? We're the Golden System. So GOALDEN. Everything we do is rooted in understanding and trying to achieve our goals. So I am Kate Wade. I am here in Charleston, and this is my amazing partner, Chrissy Metzler, and she is freezing up in Chicago. Um, but as we said, we both come from an education background, and we've been doing the work of executive function coaching now for nearly a decade. And a lot of people don't exactly know what that is, and we can explain that a little bit more as we go along. But we are here today to talk about goal setting to help you really feel productive or just help you feel like you're going in the right direction. But first, before we get started,
But first, let's pause and really be present today. As Teresa said, we are so excited. It is a Saturday morning. There are other things that you could be doing, and you chose to be here. So with that, we want you to really consider this a point in your day, something that you are doing for yourself. So we promise it is going to be time well spent. So we truly encourage you to silence your phone if it's not already. Dare I say, close those tabs on your browser so that you're not pulled in other directions, and just give yourself permission to do this for yourself. One of my favorite fun facts to tell people is that multitasking is not a thing. It is a giant lie that we have been fed that you can multitask and people are good multitaskers. That is not true in the least. Multitasking is not a thing your brain can actually do. What it is doing in those moments is switching between one task and another, and all that leads to is you actually being slower at the tasks that you're trying to do, less efficient, and truthfully, it tires your brain out. So, little fun fact for a Saturday morning that no one is actually a good multitasker because it's not a thing.
It really isn't. And today we always want to talk about kind of what our agenda is, so your brain knows what to expect, because that's actually a really important thing for our brains. Our brains like to know what's coming. So we're going to
Mhm.
review a few things. So understanding what goal setting is, what goals are, how do we interact with them, addressing the challenges of trying to set a goal. Oh, here we go. Somebody else is joining us. And also, how do we actually build sustainable habits? So I don't know what other the workshops have been like, but very much like Teresa said, today is not about Chrissy and I talking. We talk all the time to each other. We want to talk to you. We want to hear what you have going on. We are educators. We're going to teach you things, but we want you to actually practice them, because that is how you have effective goals. It takes practice. So we are going to ask you to come off of mute. We're going to ask you to share in the chat. We're going to ask you to actually do some things. So grab a piece of paper, a pen, something to kind of keep track of your thoughts as we move through this, because this really is a working session. We are all about, let's take some steps. So let's get this party started.
Let's get this party started. We want to start off today by really kind of addressing the difference between goals and resolutions, because they are not synonyms. Okay, so resolutions can be an important motivator for some people. There's nothing necessarily wrong with resolutions, but as you can see, the actual definition of like a New Year's resolution is really a promise to do something different in the new year. So to most people, resolutions are your wishes, right? I want to do better. I want to be in a better financial place. It's like this big overarching wish, but the difference is they kind of need to have extra steps and a focus in order to kind of turn into a specific goal. So when you're looking at goals compared to resolutions, goals are much more focused on improvement. You're going to break things into different steps, and there's room for error.
Yes.
You actually sit back and think about like resolutions that you might have made for yourself, whether that be for 2025 or in years past. They tend to be an all or nothing kind of thing. Either
Yeah,
you're in a better financial place or you're not.
Okay, wait, hold on. Before we keep going, who here, and you can write it in the chat or raise your hand, it's a function on Zoom. How many of you had New Year's resolutions this year? We are now in April, which is crazy. It is the second quarter of the year. Who tried a resolution this year? How did it go? Yeah, it's, I see Lucretta's saying no, but who else? Type in the chat, tell us who had a resolution, because dollars to donuts, most of you who may have had one probably quit that resolution before February even hit. So although we are in April, which I need to wrap my head around saying, it's really important because there is no right time to start a goal or resolution. You have the same resolution from last January. Okay, well, I hope we're working towards it. Okay, so what Chrissy said is it's being intentional, right? There's room for error, there's room for mistakes. You could start a new goal on a Tuesday, on a Saturday, on a Monday, on a Thursday. It doesn't matter, right? We kind of box ourselves in so much into the New Year's resolution that I'm going to do a new thing in the beginning of the school year or the new year, and we can't really go anywhere from there, right?
I think that's a really good point to bring up, Kate, because a lot of times when we work with people, and again, like we speak from experience, right? We're not making assumptions, but the vast majority of people will claim, I'm going to, whether it's a resolution for the beginning of the year or even with their goals. We're going to talk about building goals today. They'll go, I'm going to start this on Monday. Why? What's wrong with Saturday? What's wrong with Sunday? What's wrong with a Wednesday at 2 o'clock? There is nothing magical about Mondays or the first of the month, or it doesn't make any difference, right? That's something we're just kind of telling our brains as a society is what we need to do. But you don't need to, kind of keep yourself in that box. But we assure you, don't worry. We are here today. We are going to set ourselves up for success. And like Kate said, it's going to be a working session. So you're going to take actionable steps today to kind of start that process.
And we want to start with, how do we actually have an effective goal? So we said there's room for error in goals, right? They are purposeful, they are action driven. So here's some things to consider when you're trying to set a goal, right? Setting unrealistic goals leads to frustration, right? If your goal, so oftentimes people feel like they need to set this really ambitious thing, right? This is my goal. I am going to climb Mount Everest. No way in any shape, size, or form would I ever climb Mount Everest. But there's a perception that, oh, I'm going to try for this like really huge thing, right? Well, it's really good to aim high. You want to set goals that are not too far beyond your reach. You want something that's out of your comfort zone, but something that is still possible. There's actually ways that you can get there. But for me, Mount Everest, not it. Okay, goals should be flexible and adaptable. You do not stay the same, nor should your goals. You change, you grow, your life, things happen in your life, right? Your priorities change. And it's okay for your goals to change along with your life. They do not need to be stagnant. Goals can flex as needed. And also, you really need to pay attention because maybe you outgrew that goal. Maybe you grew past that goal, or maybe whatever your focus was changed to something else. And that's okay, because so many of us get bogged down and beat ourselves up over not reaching that thing, and that's not worth it.
Well, and that comes into when you say we're only focusing on the end result, right? Like there is an entire journey towards a goal. There is a lot that will be experienced. There's a lot that will be learned and gained throughout that journey. Those are valuable moments. So while the end goal is important, it's obviously where we're hoping our path is taking us. It's where we're walking towards. But focusing solely on that aspect really neglects the process and the journey that's required to reach your goal. So emphasizing the process of the goal or the steps and actions needed to achieve your goal, that's going to get you the growth that you are looking for. And really kind of looking at aligning goals with personal values for fulfillment. So some people set goals based on external pressures or societal expectations rather than actually making a goal that aligns to what they want, who they are, what their experience is hoping to be. If you're setting a goal for someone else in your life or for society, it's not attainable because it's not something you want. There is not any sort of internal motivation truly to help you push forward in that moment. So, as we're talking through goals today, and as you make goals throughout your lifetime, remember, like you need to look inside and say, well, why am I making this? What do I truly want to accomplish? And the biggest thing with goals, right? Like there's a plan, there are steps. So, a common misconception is that you set this goal and then you will achieve it.
Done.
No. Like you snap your fingers, you have a magic wand. Kate and I are still waiting on our magic wands. We
We are
don't
waiting.
have them.
No.
But the reality is that having a clear and detailed plan, outlining specific actions, timelines, even the resources you're going to need, the supports that you are going to need, that's going to help you reach your goal. So without a well-defined plan, goals really do tend to remain really vague and elusive, and that's not conducive to feeling motivated and keeping that motivation going.
Exactly. And when we talk about things that align with our personal values, it's really important to consider how it's going to impact your life. A lot of you who are here through the Legacy program, it's all about financial literacy, right? And understanding how to set ourselves up, how to move forward in the world to be independent, amazing humans, right? But when you set goals, whether it's financial goals, whether it's personal or professional goals, if you're an entrepreneur, your goals affect your life and they will impact your life in really major ways. So it can be emotional, right? So you can feel less stress, anxiety, and less overwhelm. It can be measurable. If you set goals, if you set budgetary goals, right? You're going to have potentially an increased income. If you set professional goals, right? If you try to elevate your career, that's going to impact your finances, opportunities, and the money that you spend. So goals have a really broad reaching impact when you're able to see them through, which is why it's so important that they actually align with your personal values and things that you have going on. When is the best time to set goals? Chrissy?
Whenever. There is literally no rule on when the best time to set a goal is. So today, we're going to start developing that goal right here, right now. But with that being said, that doesn't mean that, in a month when you're like, I feel like I want to try and move towards this goal. Sit down. You can take these same steps that we are teaching everyone today. You can apply them to any goal in the future that you have.
Yep.
So best time to set goals
Right now. Right now. When you
Right now.
think of it. But we're going to start now.
Yeah.
So we are going to get started. If you have a piece of paper, I recommend grabbing it, or a pen or a chalkboard or a dry erase marker or anything really. You could use your dog. They might not like it. We're going to start. So I'm actually going to put a timer up on our screen so you guys will all be able to see it. I don't know if I click the volume, so you may not be able to hear the beautiful music, but I'm going to set a timer and it's going to be, we'll do about let's do 2 minutes because we have 3 questions here.
Mhm.
We want you to write down your goal. The next thing we want you to consider is, why is this goal important to you? Like, really consider. And if you were able to achieve this goal, what would be different for you? What would that goal change? And this is your why. Okay. Why is a really important thing to be able to answer when we're trying to reach a goal. Okay. So I'm going to put on the timer. Chrissy and I will both mute ourselves. So
We'll turn our cameras off so you don't feel like we're staring at you. We're
Yeah.
not.
I'm not going to stare at you. Let's see.
And then we'll come back. And if you are open to sharing, great. If you want to kind of keep that to yourself, we also understand that. And we will see you in 2 minutes.
But we are going to keep asking you questions. So
Yes.
I highly suggest participation.
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear it? It makes me giggle every time. Okay, so now that we kind of gave you some time, and again, if you came today with a goal in mind, this is probably easier than if you came here today ready to just wing it and listen. So, does anyone have a goal or even a why behind what you want to do and what you want to change for yourself? You can come off of mute, you can chat it in the chat box.
Here's another fun fact for a Saturday morning.
Love fun facts.
Love fun facts. I hope everyone loves fun facts too. If you if you write down your goal and you tell someone what your goal is, you are almost 80% more likely to achieve it.
So this is a safe space today of very supportive people. I highly recommend
Mm-hmm.
that y'all put it out there.
Teresa, I saw you come off mute. There you are.
Chrissy, why is it that you're 80% more likely to achieve your goal if you tell somebody? Is it the accountability
Yeah.
aspect of that?
Absolutely. The accountability is huge, right? Because our brains are wonderful things. They're great, but they're also very tricky. So when we keep things inside and we don't tell anybody, whether that's out of fear or just maybe sometimes people tell us they feel a little embarrassed about what their goal is, whatever the case may be, those feelings make us keep it inside.
You're vulnerable,
You're
right?
vulnerable, right? And then when you tell someone what you're doing, they get to ask you questions like, oh, hey, Teresa, like you mentioned you were going to try and do this. Like, how's it going? And you're like, it kind of like keeps you accountable to everything. But yes, a lot of times it's accountability is a massive factor in achieving our goals.
So I have a great example.
Mhm.
One of my personal goals was to learn how to crochet. And my amazing business partner that you all see and have gotten to meet was very kind. And I think for my birthday, got me a crocheting kit, like a little kit. I'm not going to name it because I don't know how that works. But anyway, so she got me a little kit to learn how to crochet. She gave it to me. It took me a year to finish it because I would start it and I would get frustrated, right? It's when you learn, it's hard to learn something new. And also stopping to actually give myself the time to focus on something that I wanted to do was really hard. And so she would politely ask me and nudge me and say, hey, how's it coming along? And then we had a conversation about how messing up is part of it. And you really have to learn to just take it apart when it's not working. Because if you miss a stitch or what, like you just need to be okay with that. And then once I was able to get over that hurdle, I like completed it like this. And now I think
And I got picture updates and the whole deal. And it was like this big celebration at the end that she didn't just get this cute little penguin. She also had like this lovely celebration and like somebody to join in on that win. So
that's a really great example of how like even us, right? This is what we do for a living. Trying to take that time for me personally, that was hard, right? And to really focus on it. But thankfully, I have an accountability buddy built in who encouraged me along the way and did so without judgment. And I think that's something that people get really afraid of is when we share something, are people going to judge me about my goal? And are they going to judge me when I don't make any headway? Right? I'm going to come up with excuses. I'm going to delay that because that thing is hard. So having people that hold you accountable and doing so without judgment, right? It's not nagging. It's not, why didn't you do that? You have to do that, right? It needs to come from a positive place where people really just are coming in to ask you, right? So when you have someone and if you write it down, the chances of you doing it are that much higher.
And another question, what about, are there like certain people that you should be telling your goals to? Because I know, some people can be negative or maybe, try to steer you away from your
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
Did you like be kind of mindful of who you're telling your goals to?
Yes. So I think that's a really fair point. There are some people that I think all of us can probably pinpoint within our lives or even as acquaintances that you're kind of like, that might not get the reaction that I was hoping for it to. One thing to keep in mind is that when you are making a goal, you're making it for yourself. Remember, you're not making it for other people, and that's really hard when you feel like you might have your goal kind of judged by someone else or not feel supported. But that's why we ask the question of like, well, why are you doing this? Like, why do you want this? Because that why is what's going to guide you. That's what's going to pick you up on those days where you don't want to keep moving forward towards this path. So yes, you probably should be a little bit strategic in who you are planning, especially or telling, pardon me, especially maybe in the beginning, because that's where you're the most vulnerable to take a step back and go, okay, maybe this is wrong. I shouldn't do it.
But
That's
Chrissy,
hard. Yeah.
can you answer who's a great audience to ask? Because I
You
know
wanna
you
know
want
who's fabulous to tell your goals to? The little people in your life, the little children in your life. They're
You-
phenomenal accountability people. Okay, let me just tell you, I have a 10 and 12-year-old. They're phenomenal at telling me things that I was like, oh, hey, after you get home from school, I'm going to X. They don't want to remember to clean their room. Those words never sink in. But when you tell them something that you're trying to do, they're fabulous. The little ones in your lives are fabulous
And
for
if you,
goals.
yeah, and if you don't have your own little ones, like borrow nieces,
Borrow.
nephews, neighborhoods, like, right?
Tell us. We'll do it. I mean,
Yes.
we're not children, but we'll happily like send us an email and be like, I'm riding the struggle bus today.
Yeah.
Okay, we got you. Like we are truly cheerleaders for people. We tell us.
And those tiny humans, they do so without a filter. They hold you to it and they do it in the kindest of ways. And it also is really empowering for them. Think about how that might feel for a small human who sees their parent trying to do, or guardian, or whoever you are to that small human, but they see you trying to do something and they're like, I can help them.
Mhm.
I can help this grown up do something that they're struggling with. And that is a really big empowering moment. That's a great lesson that we can teach our youth, which is really important. Okay. So now that you hopefully all have your goals, even though we haven't heard them, I'm sure they're there. I'm hoping that they're there. We are going to talk about obstacles. Okay. Because we can't move forward unless, oops, someone entered the waiting room, unless we acknowledge the obstacles that might face us. Let's be realistic. Life be lifing, right? There's all sorts of life happening right now. The world is doing all sorts of crazy things. And it can feel really overwhelming when you're trying to do something new, to constantly just see all this messaging of chaos happening around us. So when we have our goal, we want to be really intentional in understanding what are the obstacles for me to actually reach that goal. And just, I want to put this out there. All of this is scientifically proven. This all has a scientific background. It's actually a model of learning and growth done by scientists, so who have a lot more years in the business than us. So this is all scientifically proven. If you want to reach your goals, you need to be realistic about what stands in your way. So this allows you to kind of make a plan for those bumps in the road, right? We're not going to have a plan for everything because, again, life's a lot of the time, adulting adults, like it happens. But the things that you know that could be difficult to overcome, what are they? And again, right, start with maybe one, maybe two. You don't have to go crazy. But then we want you to think about that obstacle. Determine if that obstacle is within your control or if it is not within your control. If it is not within your control, how might you avoid it? What could you put in place to support yourself? If it is within your control, what could you do differently? And sometimes it's just ourselves. So if you were just joining us, I think we had 2 people join us or maybe rejoin us. I want you to think about, we're talking about goals, what goals you have, And then right now we're considering what things could get in our way. So again, we're going to set the timer. We're going to let you do some work and we'll be right here. Okay, everyone. Okay. If you have a goal, what is an obstacle? Does anyone want to share what an obstacle might be for them?
I can go.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So for me, I identified time.
Mm,
For the goal that I had, it was to renovate our washroom. And
mhm.
so it was just the time of finding a contractor to help me. Because neither one of us are very savvy with laying flooring or any of that stuff.
I have
Um,
a contractor for you.
oh good. I'll reach out to you after state. Um, and then I also put an obstacle as analysis by paralysis because I am super guilty of over analyzing everything, and even down to colors and what would make sense in here. And so um I actually just put myself as an obstacle at that point. So those were the main ones that I put out as being obstacles for the goal.
Okay, well, I got you on one. You're all set.
Thank you.
Time is one that we hear a lot. We hear, well, I feel like I won't have time for that, right? And there's a lot that kind of goes into that obstacle, but just remember that there's never going to be more than 24 hours in a day. Yes, you still need to sleep, you need to eat, we're all working individuals. Like there are things that we just kind of can't not do. But, there's how do we move forward with making sure that there is the time to reach your goal? Because most of us are living such jam-packed lives.
Yeah. And it's really important too, right? Chrissy is the queen of telling people that perfection does not exist. It lives in a land of unicorns, right? So when you consider how, and I'm lucky enough to know you a little bit, but how artistic you are, and when you see things and colors and patterns, and you love those kinds of things, right? That's so passionate for you, is recognizing that is a strength and identifying, okay, well, if I can't get it exactly right, what's within my realm of rightness, right? It can't be perfect, but what is my threshold for what I'll accept, right? And understanding that because you are an artistic and visual person, right? So even when we do get in our own way, starting to kind of flip that a little bit and realize, okay, what characteristic of mine is getting in the way, and how is that actually a positive thing? How can I use that to my advantage to help me through this? Because you're the only one that you've got. So it's worth celebrating that, right? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to be intentional. And this is where people really get tripped up when they're working on goals. We have these goals, right? We know that there's an emotional impact. There are impacts in other parts of our lives, right? Financial, personal, business, all of those things, right? This is an extremely emotional, and it should be independently driven thing, right? You should have this motivation. You should have this really powerful why going into it. But then that's where a lot of people stop, right? They say, I want this thing. I really, really want it. It's really important to me. But then what's next? So it's actually coming up with we're going to start today. Just one actionable step that you can take in that direction. What is one thing that you can do today, tomorrow, within the week? What is one actionable thing?
One, don't go
One.
nuts. Don't think I'm gonna just like keep going. No, one, there's a reason
One.
why it's one, and that's because we need to show your brain that there is one thing that it can hold on to that you can use to start to get things rolling, which is usually where I put in my like, you're making a snowball, but it always tends to fall flat on everyone that doesn't live around me. But you guys did have snow this year.
I mean, we
So
have, yeah.
it's like you're making a snowball and you need to have like a foundation. So what is that one little thing that is starting off your snowball?
Right. Or if you're ocean minded, it's a pearl. What's that grain of sand that's getting started? But again, I'm the marine biologist, so it's fine. Okay, I'm going to reset the clock, and not for 5 minutes. We'll do 2 minutes again. And we want you to think of one actionable step. Don't go past that. Okay. So, does anyone else in the community want to share what an actionable step that you might take? What's a small thing you can do? For those of you who are joining us, we would love to hear about what small actionable step you are going to take towards reaching your goal. Oh, everyone's not sharing it today. That's okay.
I can go.
Yes.
So one small step I wanted to do that would help in decreasing the cost for this said renovation, I wanted to learn the basics for interior designing. And there are a lot of free courses out there. And so my first step is just see what is out there, what's trending in the interior design world, so you don't have to pay somebody to do that, and that could help
Yes.
keep costs low.
Oh, definitely. That's awesome. Yeah. Do a little education. Start from a place of what's interesting to you. Love it. And that's manageable, right? That's not like a huge, you're not like, I'm going to go rip my bathroom out and then figure out what I need to do afterwards. So that's great. Okay. Would anyone else like to share? Ooh, goal is debt freedom. I love it. So I will write down balances and implement a plan of attack. Way to go. It's one of those things that you can't actually know what you owe until you look at it. So thank you so much for sharing. That's fantastic. That's exactly it. You got to rip that Band-Aid off. I have, when we work with students, I have students who ignore their grades. I don't know if any of you are ever like that, but they ignore looking at their grades because if they don't look at them, they're not real. Same with bank accounts, right? If you don't look at it, all that credit that it's not real. So that is a fantastic place. Actually start from a place of writing it down so you can actually know how to tackle that. Hi, sir. Would you like to share? I love it. Okay. So now that you all have your, ooh, Chrissy got booted out. So here she comes back. Now that you all have your one actionable step, and I appreciate the share, that's really important and it's very vulnerable. So we thank you. Coming into that, the next part of it is actually integrating your actionable step into your schedule. This means you're actually going to go into your calendar and schedule this in for yourself, right? So we're all of this is intentional. You came up with a single action item and you want to limit it potentially, right? So if you're looking for interior design courses, limit your search to like, I'm going to look for about 30 minutes, see what I find, right? You want it to be within a threshold. You want it to be kind of nice and concise. So that way it's not too overwhelming. You could do it a few different times, right? Maybe I'll do like 20 minutes looking on Pinterest and I'll schedule that here and there. Or I'm going to look at courses. I'm going to look for about 20 minutes, see if I find anything, and then I'm going to go back and look into those courses, right? So very specifically, get it into your calendar. So calendar or depending on what goal you have, you could do habit stacking. That's so if I like to go for a walk in the morning, right? Which I do enjoy walking. I take my dog out for a walk. What else can I do during that time, right? I can take those 10 minutes that it takes me to go around my block. I can take the 10 minutes and I can listen to a podcast because I'm trying to learn more about interior design, right? So I can listen to something while I'm walking. So that's called habit stacking, right? Not multitasking, not a real thing. I'm just stacking two different habits that I want to build. Okay. So we actually want you to schedule this. So put something in your calendar now. Yes, pulling out the phones. I like it. This is the only time we're going to let you pull out other media. Pull out that phones and put that in your schedule. And while you're doing that, we are going to talk, because we want to be mindful of your time. We're going to talk about staying motivated, right? So for going debt free, writing down your balances, to me, that's a headache. And I do it every month. I go through my balances and my bills, right? I built that into my calendar. That's in my list of things to do because, right, that amount of money is going to change every month. So you can't just do it once. Yeah. You got to schedule that. That has to be a reoccurring activity that you're doing because, again, right, the more you see it, the more it's real, the more you can do things to change it. So that needs to become a reoccurring task. But how do you keep that motivation?
And there are some questions that you can ask yourself, and you can use these questions. You can, screenshot this, or I know it's being recorded, or you could come up with your own. The most important piece is that there is a reflective piece that you are making sure that it's at the forefront of your brain. So, even looking at over the last week, what actions have I put towards my goal? Again, if that list is not that long, Kate mentioned it earlier, sometimes things aren't within our control, right? And we have to be able to recognize what was in our control, and we could probably make adjustments for moving forward. Or it's just kind of well, that happened. And it is what it is. My whole family has been sick for like an eternity, it feels like at this point. Some of the things that happened, I just didn't have control over because I had a sick kid home with me. It wasn't anything I could change. Is this goal still important to you? That's a really huge one, because again, like, you're really going to struggle with motivation if this goal doesn't make you feel joy, or it doesn't make you want to move forward, or you're not seeing the benefits, like you're struggling with that. And then what's the next step you need to continue working towards your goal? Our brains love to know what's coming. We said that from the very beginning when we went over what the agenda was for today. Our brain loves to know what's coming. If we can set ourselves up to know what's next, we are then going to be able to have our brains go, oh, I don't have to think about this on Monday morning when I'm, grocery shopping. Like, I have this set and ready to go. I know my next step.
Right. And that's why we start today out with one single step.
Mm-hmm.
And part of scheduling it is that you can schedule a time of when you do that first step, right? So if you go in and write down the balance of your debt, and you have it all listed out. And I love a good Excel sheet. So if you ever need any help, just hit me up, please. I'll help you. I love it. But very seriously, if you have it written down and you know what's coming, and you say, okay, I checked that off my list, I did that. What's the next thing I need to do? Yes, Barry, I love it. Making your goals visible. Yes, vision boards, super and powerful, right? It's the writing it down, because a vision board, it stays within your sphere, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing it, but guess what? So are other people.
Yep.
And wrote it down. So these things, right? These empower you. They keep you going. Your vision board, you're like, that's what I want. I want to get there. How do I get there? And you just keep adding small steps each step along the way, right? Like, you just keep adding, and you keep being intentional, and you keep scheduling it for yourself, right? Treat it like a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Have a big thing you're trying to get done. That's a meeting. That's your time with yourself, that you are going to do that thing. Whether that's on a weekend, whether that's at nighttime, whether that's during the day, whatever your situation is, put it on your calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Send yourself a text message. Set an alarm, reminder, because that is something that you want to do, and you deserve to give yourself that time and space.
Well, and Lucretta, like your goal of redoing a room in your house, if there are other stakeholders involved in this goal, make that meeting a joint meeting.
Yes.
Bring these stakeholders together, have intentional time on a Friday night, a Sunday morning, whatever works, and say, this is what we need to kind of come together and have this conversation too. So if there's other people involved, bring them into it, because that'll make sure everybody's on the same page.
And then you're going to do all the research. So you're going to be like, this is what I know I want. Okay. So staying motivated is really hard. The next part of staying motivated, and we already talked a little bit about this, is utilize an accountability system, right?
Mhm.
Tap into accountability systems. That can be the people in your church. That can be us here today. That can be your kids. That can be your village, whatever that looks like. Tap into accountability. The reason I think accountability is so powerful is because we take control of the situation. A lot of the time, life feels out of control, and we're here, we feel that 100%, right? Those obstacles that get in our way, we feel like we don't have control over the situation. Accountability is something that you have direct control over. And the reason you have control over it is because you ask. It's, hey, Chrissy, can you ask me how I'm doing on my crochet project? Right? It's me asking for that, not expecting, right? And she's not going to nag me about it. But if I ask, I am taking control of the situation. I am saying this is something I want for myself, and I'm asking for support.
And this is something that I want to make sure is loud and clear, because Kate and I will always be the ones to say it, that there is nothing wrong with finding and asking for support. And we say that, and I know like logically everyone's sitting here today and they're all like, everybody's going, we know, like, yes, of course, but also sometimes we just need to hear it again, because a lot of times we stop ourselves. We stop ourselves from asking for support because it's well, I should be able to figure out my financial goals. Like, I can do this myself. I'll be fine. Take out the I'll be fine part. It's not a problem asking for support or for help from outside resources. So just I always have to plug it, because I feel like we all logically know that, but then so often in our experience, we've watched people go, but I just don't want to. Like, I know I should, but I still feel like I should be able to do this by myself.
And by the way, no one teaches us these things. No one teaches us how to adult. There's no
No.
handbook. And there are people who are really good at certain things, right? There are people who are better at things than you are, and you're better at different things than them. And that is how life is. We do not have all the answers. And if you're able to keep that growth mindset of, oh, I don't really know, but I want to learn, right? That's why you all are here this morning on a Saturday when there's a bajillion things happening today. Like, you're here to learn and you're being open and vulnerable, and that's a really beautiful thing. So you have support. There are people here. And if you have any questions, we would love to hear them. So you're welcome to come off of mute or chat over. Chrissy just put in the chat the link to our Google form, because we are all about growth. This is something we love talking about. We love talking about goals and how you can reach them and how it can be actionable. We're here to support people in reaching their goals. We're all about helping you with, it's actually behavior change. And we've been doing that for almost 10 years together. So this is a really cool thing. We want to hear from you. We'd love your feedback. So please take a moment and do that. Our contact information is also listed on the screen, and Chrissy can also put it in the chat. Support at the Golden System. If you have a question, if you want help with an Excel sheet, like for reals, I love them. We help people one-on-one. We do coaching. We also do tons of other workshops with information like planning, prioritizing, managing your time, right? All the things, again, no one teaches us, but we're expected to know. That's our specialty. So we are so thankful that you are here with us today. I'm going to be quiet and give y'all a minute to ask us any questions. But thank you. Well, thank you, Jonathan.
Awesome. Awesome. Does anyone have any thoughts or any
We're not fine
questions?
until we seek out support.
Yes. Yes. Any other thoughts or questions? This is really good information. I know a couple things that I think about this is that you really released a lot of preconceived notions that I had about setting goals. A couple takeaways that I liked was the fact that you mentioned goals must align with personal values for fulfillment, and that your goals should be flexible and adaptable. And I think with the flexibility with the goals, that kind of trips up a lot of people, because if they're like sticking to the goal, and if they don't, make the goal or do the goal, it kind of sets them back mentally, so they don't move forward. So these are really good points that you made.
Thank you. And if anybody thinks of a question or you're starting to kind of dig further into, your goals, whether they are, I know all of this is based off of financial information, but if you're ever kind of looking at it going, oh, I have a question, like, please, we're very genuine when we say, send us an email. If you've got further follow-up questions that you don't have quite the time to say today, or they're not there yet, reach out to us later. We're here to help.
Yeah, we're the biggest cheerleaders you could ever have. And if you ever just even want to follow us on social media, we're all over all the things. It's just GOALDEN instead of the normal way. But just follow us. Come along with us on
Our
the ride.
newsletters sign up is in that lovely link that in that QR code too. So we do not
So
spam inboxes because we work too hard with our clients to make sure that their inboxes are organized. We do not spam inboxes. So, but thank you all for being here.
yeah, thank you. Multitasking about one is getting more attention than the other. Yeah. Well, good luck everyone on your goals, and we are cheering you on. So thank you for having us.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, for joining us again. Wonderful information. If anyone has any other thoughts or comments or want to utilize their services more, please reach out to them because they have wonderful talent to really help us to hone into our goals and to really be positive with our goals. And to achieve our goals, basically. So thank you so much for being here, Kate and Chrissy. We really appreciate the time and the information. Good stuff. If you have any questions for the Legacy program, definitely you can reach out to us, legacyprogram227@gmail.com. You can email us. This video is being recorded and will be posted to our YouTube page, which is My Legacy Program. And please like us on Facebook also, which is My Legacy Program, where you can get all the updates in regards to any future classes that we may have and also other financial literacy information. And before we go, LaQuetta does have some good information that she wanted to pass along. LaQuetta?
All right, good morning, everyone. So before we head out, I just wanted to say thank you again to Chrissy and Kate. And this kind of builds off of what we've been talking about today, right? Is setting those goals. Can you guys see my screen?
I can't, but to me it looks blank. It just looks like
Yeah.
I can see the outline of it, but not what's on it.
Try this one. Can you guys see this one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. And so we wanted to start with a goals class this year to kind of set that foundation for all the other follow-on classes, right? And so the next class that we're going to have is going to be about resume building. It's going to be about salary negotiations. And so definitely Golden Systems can get you ready for all those things. We also have the ResRev, excuse me, has a elevator pitch competition coming up on May 9th. And so definitely it's a great program. I met with the founder. It was amazing. They do these key events. And so we'll definitely be sharing more of it at each class. But this particular one is an elevator pitch competition. They do interactive workshops. And so the next one coming up is May 9th. If you are in the market looking for a new job, if you are thinking about a career change, if you just want to build your elevator pitch skills, and see what's out there in the industry, this is going to be where you want to plug in, right? And so I was so excited when I talked to the owner and I said, okay, we definitely have to get this out to everybody. And so the way I see it, building your goals is the foundation to all of this. And then as you start kind of building out those goals, a step towards that would be something like an elevator pitch and negotiating salaries and all that stuff. So just wanted to share with you guys this opportunity. If you would like more information on it, just send us an email at Legacy Program, and I put the email address in the chat because I don't want to spam anyone who may not be interested. If you have a family member or friend who'd be interested, just let us know and we'll get the flyer over to them as well.
So good. Everyone should do it. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Jackie is fabulous. We
exciting.
work with her all the time. We promise you, we've watched her elevator pitch competitions. We've been in attendance. She's
Phenomenal.
got so much information to share. She's a fabulous resource for everyone.
All
Yeah.
right. Awesome.
Go
Awesome
find that.
information. Okay, let's see. Is that everything else? All right. Well, again, we want to thank you ladies for the wonderful information and thank everyone for joining us. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much, Teresa. Thank you, Luquetta.
Thank
It's so good to see
you.
Yes, take care. Thank you
Bye.
guys.
I'll go ahead and stop the recording.
Thank you.